Welcome to The Roofer Show with your host, Dave Sullivan. You found the podcast that helps roofing contractors grow their businesses, make more money, and have more free time.
Tim Brown, what is going on, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been too long, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think it's 2 years now since we've spoken.
That's too long, man. We should make sure this is at least yearly. I love your show. I think your people are awesome. I think you're helping people that need this. And there's a lot of very expensive gurus out there. And I know you have helped a lot of people, including people I like and respect, to grow their business. So appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey, I appreciate the comments because I'm certainly no guru. Man, I'm just just a guy that's been there and done it and trying to help people. So anyway, well, speaking of what I do, let's talk about what you do. So what do you do? Who do you do it for? And what are the results you're going to get for our contractors?
Google marketing. We do SEO, PPC websites, and Google Maps SEO and local service ads. And we just added a few new services that are a little bit, we have stuff as expensive as $4,800 a month for SEO. Our websites are considered expensive, $21,000, but we break it down into $1,750 a month. But we just added a few new services that are much more affordable. So we have like Google Maps SEO, for instance, for $1,000 a month. We have LSA management for $500 a month, and we have starter SEO for $2,000 a month. So whereas Hook Agency is often considered very premium, we also have these cheaper options that should be able to help these guys going from 1 to 5 million to grow their businesses. Google Maps is such a massive part of the Google search page when you're Googling. And so to have something built totally for that, we're utilizing AI. It's called rankmap.ai. So if you want to type that into your browser or your phone, rankmap.ai, we're posting, it's all the things you should be doing anyways.
Yeah.
So I can go into what you can be doing for your Google Maps, and then our tool just happens to help you do that quicker and more automated.
I love it. I want to hear all of it because that's our audience is really $1 to the $5 million, or most of the contractors that I work with in my coaching and, my mentoring group, which I'm doing a lot more of that. So let's start off with, I'm one of these 1 to 5 million contractors.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of sitting there like so many contractors. I'm just kind of stuck. I'm not getting anything going. So how do I get started? I've got this old website that I've had for, 5 years, and it's not, I don't know what it's doing. I'm not doing any SEO, but I know my leads are dropping off. It's getting tougher. It's getting more competitive. I've got, all these, PE guys, these roll-ups coming after, it's just like outspending me. So let's get started with that. What do I do?
Yeah, I think a big principle is to play small ball to win big. Get tight with your service area, get clear about what your specialties are, and then hammer those things over and over again. Figure out where your ideal customers are. Let's say your top zip code in your CRM. Really look at that and push more marketing, more types of marketing to a smaller area. And getting very clear about that ideal customer and where they are on the map. And really, let's say you're doing Facebook ads and pushing to that area. You're doing SEO, you're trying to show up in that area. But for people that are really early and let's say their website sucks, I'm not always quick to say, oh, you need a new website.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard to do a new website every year. You probably shouldn't be doing that. You probably, it should last you 3 to 5 years, really, a website. But sometimes I say, let's make you money first. Before we go, because I think a website really, to make you money, there needs to be people coming to it, right? So if it's real bad, you got to start there, unfortunately. But if it's not that bad, it's still an okay website. Maybe looking at Google Ads or Google Maps. So for instance, I just talked to a commercial roofer out of Wisconsin, and his website isn't that bad, but it's old. He kind of wants to redo it. We all want to redo our website all the time, and but
make it look pretty, but doesn't make us any money.
Yeah, but if it's a ghost town, it doesn't matter. So that's why I said, I'm sorry. And this guy's like a friend that I've had in the industry for 5 years, and I'm like, I don't want to sell you something that's not going to make you money right now. So that website, if it's a ghost town, it will just be a ghost town you spent more money on. So I pushed them towards more the maps route and the Google Ads route, because I know what our costs are for, like, we're talking like 150 to 250 bucks for an average roofing lead. And for his stuff, commercial, it's a little bit more than that, like 300 to 500 range. Mm-hmm. And it does, it does get expensive, but let's say we targeted that 350 amount and 65% of them are qualified. You kind of just do the math backwards and it kind of it works, like for you to understand, it's just easier to do the math with Google Ads, right? Mm-hmm. Like Google Ads are just, SEO is the beauty that we all want. We all want the free traffic coming into our website. It sounds good. I do think it is good, and it's long-term and it's compounding. However, it's a really big investment and it takes a long time if you're going to do it right. Yeah. So that's why it's like, if you just want the spreadsheet to work right now for this year, 2025, it does make the spreadsheet makes a lot of sense quicker if it's Google Ads, because we kind of can figure out how much we're going to spend per Google ad. We can kind of figure out how many, what percentage we're going to get qualified, and then your close rate, right? Yeah, so if you know your numbers, you can do the math a little easier. So that's why I pushed him towards Google Ads. It really depends on your situation. Some people, another friend of mine, he's down in Florida. He's swimming in cash right now because they had a storm and it hit his area. And he knows he wants to just hammer long-term stuff. Leads have been cranking. Mm-hmm. I pushed him to be very aggressive on SEO. And I believe that SEO is now affecting the AI results. Right, so that's something people get scared right now because they're like, well, I'm spending all this money on SEO, but is it going to be gone in a few years? And they're like, we should, they see an ad on Instagram that says, you should be doing AEO.
Yeah.
Answer engine optimization.
Shiny object.
Dead. Everything's dead all the time, right? Yeah. Well, everything that you've done for SEO, if you're really aggressive, if you put those same search terms into ChatGPT, a lot of times you're part of those search results because it's using similar methods to grab the information. So I don't know if I have I don't know what it's going to look like in 5 years, but I do know that for the next couple of years still, Google is dominant, 90%. People don't adopt it as fast as, sometimes business owners or tech guys like me. Like I'm doing ChatGPT sometimes more than I'm doing Google, but it doesn't mean everybody is. And so I pushed him because he's a long-term thinker to do both and to push into SEO. But that's a long-term game, and knowing how much you're willing to invest for the long term. You got to be careful about whether that's appropriate for you or not. And I need to make sure I ask people about what their real goals are and how quickly they want to see returns. And then if they really need them in 6 months, it's probably Google Ads is probably a safer bet.
You got a lot going on here. Let's break these down.
Yes.
First off, I think you're totally right, because this is the first thing that we work on, which is identifying your ideal customer, because I really believe the riches are in the niches and figuring out what you do. And one of the biggest problems that we see is you're trying to be everything to everybody, and you're offering these services. You're doing, siding, doing windows, doing roofing, gutters, residential, commercial. Well, these are all different. And when we break these down, really in individual profit centers, we find that, hey, you're losing money on 2 or 3 of these. Let's get rid of those, focus on what you do well. And that's where the money's at, and you talk about identifying that ideal customer. What we say is, who's that one customer that you would love to have 100 just like, that avatar. Mm-hmm. And we focus down on that. And I got to think, and you correct me, but you can't, until you have that identified, you can't even start a good website because you don't know who you're speaking to. And if you're going to do this shotgun approach, it's going to suck. You want to be laser focused on who you want to speak with. And that's how your website should be designed.
Yes.
And right before I finish that, what do you think about starting off with just a basic website audit? Okay. Because I find that Google doesn't even know who you are. You're not tied into your maps page. It's just, so starting off with some of those and optimizing your website, easy. You don't have to redesign it. But let's start with that because, the website's your hub of your marketing, and really your business. So what we do, and I agree, you don't need to spend a lot of money.
Yeah. And we do all kinds of audits for people that are trying to talk to us. So we have Google ad audit, we have an SEO audit, and we have a website audit. So depending on what you need, we're willing to do those things for free. If you went to hookagency.com/call, you can set up a brief call and ask for any one of those audits. It's super short 20-minute phone call. Ask for any one of those. We'll get them to you. And we'll do an audit on whether you're doing it yourself or you have a different agency. A lot of times people come to us, they've already worked with a couple agencies. They're looking for something a little higher touch, a little bit more customer service, and we're kind of known for that. So a lot of companies choose us because of that higher level of customer service, and agencies are kind of annoying. So we try to be less annoying. But yes, we'll do our audit, like our website audit is really around persuasion, and trust, and having the ideal customer in mind. Because we have our 5-part winning website formula, and a big one is like, is it written to the ideal customer, or are you just bragging?
Give me those 5 real quick because I love lists. Makes sense. Let's cover that. Yeah.
So the 5-point winning website formula. I am pulling it up right now because I don't have it totally memorized.
It's not.
It is fairly simple though. It's just going to take me one moment. Okay, so one is the big call to action right away. You need a form, or you need a big button, or you need the call us now right away. Make that big and on every page, and at the end of every page, and on your header. 2, testimonials or other trust factors. I like to call them trustimonials. Ding, coined by Tim Brown, trustimonials. The smiling face.
You heard it here.
Yeah, the smiling face of the homeowner, the Google or Facebook logo, the 5-star icon, and an excerpt, not the 500 words that they left, but the 2 or 3 sentences that are the most emotional, and putting those in some kind of carousel so somebody can just look at all these things and putting them towards the top of the page. One of the biggest things I see is they bury it. But guess who doesn't go down there? The average homeowner. So right away on the page, like maybe before they even scroll, these testimonials or these trustimonials that look like almost like a widget. So it doesn't feel like it's like as curated as it actually is. And then 3, emotionally persuasive images and headlines. We make our ideal customer the hero of this story and help them imagine themselves working with you. So an example I always give is like, let's say somebody enjoying the product or service. So if that's somebody with their kid on their shoulders looking up at the roof, or if you're a Windows company, that's somebody with the baby on their back and they're smiling, looking out a rainy window or a sunny window, or they're watching their kids enjoy it, or however, but you involve family a little bit because it's it's a hook. It's a really good hook, and we need a hook.
I love that because, here's how you're going to feel after you buy our product, and I think that's so important. And you've got to get that message across because, nobody wants to hear about, hey, we provide great service, we're reasonably priced, and we're the best in town. Who cares about that,
Well, just like sales, because I believe marketing is sales at scale. Right. I believe that's why when people like marketers are all like, oh, this is the best book on marketing. I'm like, read all the sales books and then apply those principles to marketing. You're going to be a better marketer if you read the sales books. And I think it's crazy, but it's counterintuitive. It's true. Because so many of the principles that apply to sales also apply in marketing. And you see, like, it's a lot easier to go from being a sales guy to a marketing guy than a marketing guy to a sales guy. Have you noticed that?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I think we're on number 4.
Oh, yeah.
Four or
Four
five.
is an
Four.
emphasis on search engine optimization throughout the process, meaning we need content. We need a lot of it. We need things like frequently asked questions. We need buckets that are getting built out all the time. So location landing pages is one bucket, and you want to continually be building out the different.
What does that mean?
A location landing page is like if you serve a town nearby, making a page on your website for that town plus roofing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have that for every single town in your area, you're just more likely to show up on Google search result pages for that town plus roofing, and for things like roofer near me and roofing contractor in that area, because Google is like, oh, these guys are in that area. They serve that area.
Those are our city pages. So
yep, city pages. And then the last one, and that also includes blogs. Blogs build out your footprint on Google, more ways that people are going to come in the door. It's a little bit high funnel, top of funnel awareness content. Yeah. That's okay. Or problem oriented content, but we're getting people in through the website. Also, people link to those pages, which is really good for your website. If people are linking to those blogs, let's say if you made a thing about, are birds' nests bad for my chimney or roof or something like that, right? You make that blog post, all of a sudden somebody on Home and Garden is linking to that blog post. That's really good for your website. Yeah. So if you're building out that type of content on a regular basis, that's very positive. It feels like a fluffy thing that's out there, but as time goes on, as you get bigger, those are really important.
Let me touch on that because, I think if you go to a lot of websites, they have a blog. You go to the blog, they started blogging. Here's 3 years ago, we've got a consistency going every month, and then just drops off. Most guys just drop it. Now, I think a lot of agencies sell the fact of, well, you got to have a blog page. We got to have blogs. Yeah. So we're going to go hire, some, Upwork person to write some blogs for us,
or just pure AI now. You can do pure AI. Like you can just do ChatGPT. Honestly, I'm not trying to scare you away. If you would actually do that by yourself, it'd probably be better than what you're doing currently. It's just that most people just stop. So right. I don't think blogging is like the end all be all. I do think it's like we take every competitive edge we can, right, in business. And it is a competitive edge because most people will not link to your website for your location page or your, you know what I mean? Right. So it's just a way to get links. It is a competitive edge, and people do talk smack about blogging as a strategy, but I had a competitor who was talking smack about it. As soon as AI came, they started doing it for their clients. Right. And I was like, why did AI change how you felt about blogging? Because if it wasn't good before, it shouldn't be good now, right? But now all of a sudden you're blogging 100 blogs at once. And honestly, that's not good for you either. But it is funny how it changed how everyone thought about it, because now it's easy to do, so they do it. So we were doing it when it wasn't easy. And usually, just because it's a lot of work doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Now, if it's not the highest leverage activity and you don't have location pages for every single town and city that in your area, do that first. You'll see if you ever look at our content calendar, the first 3 months are just getting all those location pages because it's the highest leverage thing. So I understand why some people are anti-blogging, but it is good no matter what, even if you use AI. I know it sounds like I shouldn't say that, but the next level is actually using YouTube transcripts. Yeah. And going if there's a question about birds' nests on roofs and in chimneys, I could go to a video on that topic with subject matter expertise, copy that, and put it into ChatGPT and say, make this into a blog post. That would be a better blog post because it's using context and actual subject matter expertise. So it's like that kind of gets in, just to touch on video for a second. Video is probably,
Well, let's not get into that yet because I've got
yeah.
100 questions about that.
Yes.
But let wrap up blogging and this content. I think one thing, you got to understand why you're doing it and if you're ready to make that commitment, because it is a commitment. It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I think it's even worse to stop all of a sudden, when you're all active and so forth. And then it's kind of like, okay, well, what happened? So because that's what I do is I just use ChatGPT and exactly what you're saying.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's the funny thing is, there's nothing wrong with it.
But consistency, and you got to be prepared to do that. But there's all kinds of channels that we can use, and don't try to do all of them. I think is, kind of pick a few that are going to get results, because as your website, that's all that matters. I mean, is we're attracting the right type of customer. So we've identified them. We're bringing them to our website or our content. But they've got to convert. As you say, you've got to have a call to action. It's got to convert. And the conversion, that first sale, is getting a freaking appointment. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And we were talking about getting people to kind of like be emotionally involved. My last point on the winning website formula is really clear differentiating features or unique value propositions. What can competitors not say? Now, what do they say in sales? They say you got to get them to like, know, and trust you. And people don't remember what you say. Half the time don't even remember what you do, but they remember how you made them feel.
Exactly.
And that's true because, like, when somebody pisses you off, it sticks in your head for way too long, right? But when somebody tells you, if somebody tells you a compliment or inspires you or makes you feel really nice and warm and fuzzy, that lingers for a long time. You might not remember all the details of the discussion. And I think that's a big differentiating feature. If we can make them feel anything good on your website, like, think about that. Is there any way to make them feel something good?
What are some examples of that? Because I agree, but then everybody says, oh yeah, we're different than everybody else, but what makes you different? Well, and how do you, and exactly as you say, how do you get that across where they remember it and they give a rat's ass about it?
Well, I think I'm going to step into territory where some people are going to disagree with me on this.
That's good.
But that's fun, right? I think if you are involved in the community, let's say you do something charitable. Let's say you've given away a roof to a veteran. Let's say you've packed Toys for Tots as a team. I'm asking you to feature that on the homepage. I'm asking you to talk about your community involvement in a classy way, not in a gross, we're the most charitable in the world. But that's why it's a little spicy, is because some people think that has to be hidden for it to be good. And I'm telling you, I believe you might inspire a competitor, or you might inspire another human being to want to be involved with charity as well. And so I believe it's good. Another one, I don't think this one's quite as spicy, but what about showing your family? And like in my case, on my website, we've got my wife and our daughter, and we're holding our daughter, and it's talking about the golden rule, because it's actually our belief that we're trying to do things by the golden rule, which means we'd prefer it done this way. And I'm trying to live, our business is supposed to be in such a way that, like, this is how we'd want it done. If somebody was doing marketing for us, this is how we'd want our money spent. So, like, what do you believe deeply and strongly, actually? Maybe it's not that exact thing for your business, but can you talk about that? What do you believe? What is it just plain wrong? Like, if you want to compete with PE,
right?
What is just plain wrong about the way other people are doing it versus, like, and focus more on the positive. This is the way we believe it should be done. This is how it should be done. Do we get that
across on our About page? And is that something we should spend a lot of time with, because I don't know. I've heard that it's the second most visited page,
Yeah.
on your website. I don't know how true that is, but I agree with you on having photos. You look at most about pages, and oh,
Yeah.
we've been in business 50 years and all this stuff. Nobody cares, but they do care about getting to know you. And that's, for me, I always go to the about page because I want to know who
Hmm.
these people are that you're going to be dealing with. And we're talking about real pictures from
Yeah.
real, your real guys. These are the guys that are going to be at your home, and you can trust them. These are our real
Yeah.
guys. Here's our trucks. Here's our guys working. They're not all tatted up on their face and, looking
Yeah.
scary. These are the people that are going to be doing my home, going to be hanging around my kids, all of this. And so I've got this one guy, he's really into horses, and this is
Yeah.
his whole thing. So I've got him and his wife, out there talking about their horses and what's important to them and really getting to know who they are. So do we get this across on our about page? And,
Yeah.
how do we do that?
I think everything you said is correct. The only thing that I would kind of also consider is how can we do it on the homepage too? And how can we do it often throughout the website, not just in one area or the other? Because a lot of people, still percentage-wise, very few people are going to anywhere on our website. They're going to like one page. They're like going to like 1.2 pages on our website. You know what I'm saying? Like on average. Yes, I make that about page really good. We want as much visuals as we can. I think another big one is badges. Like, have you won some awards? Have you worked, if you're a commercial company, what companies have you worked for? Like making it big and visual. That's why I was talking about testimonials too, with images of the customers. And I do agree, if you can get some like kind of more like personable pictures of the team and like what their interests are, or anything like that, that's great. But just, pushing into visuals, I think about bullet points and icons and badges and design elements that pull out the things you want to be most obvious. So as much as we can pull out the biggest, most important things, that's why it's so important to prioritize your messaging. Like this is the ideal customer. That's the most important question. And then like, what are the big emotional hook points we want them to remember about our company? If it's family oriented, we need to make family oriented part of the whole everything. We want to put the family on the front, maybe before they scroll. Like we want to find different ways to kind of build these hook points into a lot of different pages on the website. So yeah, it's hard to prioritize, but once you prioritize the ideas that you want to be memorable, you make those visual and you make those everywhere.
This is why you go work with somebody like Tim, okay?
Yeah.
Who understands this. And I agree, obviously with all of the things that you're saying. Let me ask you this. Okay, so the people that are coming to it, let's say we do attract somebody to our website. Somehow we've gotten that far. So here they are. You get a visitor. Now, isn't it true that, it's a small, the small amount of people that are really ready to buy today. Okay, people are doing research. They want to check you out, whatever. And this is something that maybe, we've got a long sales cycle. So people are just doing their investigation. It's a huge amount of money. So I think the majority of people that, are visiting are not going to buy, obviously not going to buy today. They're looking for something else. So if you keep slamming that whole thing about, immediate, I think, how do we focus on those, that majority of the visitors and, either capture their email, capture their information, be able to drip some things to them. But along those lines, what do you think about these, the Roof Quote Pro and these kind of things that are really, I think, great lead magnets? Tell us about how do we keep these people in touch?
Well, definitely pricing and estimate calculators are a big deal. I feel like you're talking about and I have them like resources. Like in our case, we call them like resources. Like we have courses Although for roofing, it is a shorter consideration cycle. So a lot of times people are coming through quick. I know this might not be where you're leading me to, but for roofers, I think if there's one thing that they could spend more time on that would make their website better and lead to push people down the funnel, let's say they're in their consideration phase, but it would make them more likely to be in the purchase phase, is video. I think embedded videos. And I think if you did one thing this year that would be the most likely to make you money, it would be it's a two-parter. A testimonial video with 2 or 3 ideal customers that are candid, somewhat real, it's not so formulaic and polished that it doesn't feel real. Real customers, maybe in their home, maybe spur of the moment, pull out your phone. I'm sorry, some of you are too scared to pull out your phone and just go, hey, will you say that again?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, will you say that again? Hey, this is a big deal. If you could just say that again and just say exactly what you said. Because, that's what happens. I know you're in the home. And I know they just said a compliment. I got
two. So I want to get into that. 2 things I want to be sure we cover is video, because I've got 100 questions, and the maps. And you just mentioned that you got a special program for the maps. Which one you want to start with?
Let's do video first, because I can encapsulate this pretty quick. Testimonial videos are huge. The more candid you can get them, they don't have to be perfectly polished. And then putting that video on the front page, right next to your testimonials or right around the top of the page, big deal. Most people won't do it. You will, though, because you're a growth mode business that's super smart and savvy, and you want and then using that everywhere, right? You want the best stuff. Mm-hmm. Using that on social, using it on social ads, etc. That's your best ad, testimonial videos. B is the top 7 questions that you have in your sales process. I've been hammering this for years, but I believe in this. If they have objections to your process or questions that they have in the sales process, write them down. Every time somebody says an objection to me now, I get excited, because I'm going to put that down and I'm going to make a video about it. But what are your top 7 objections or questions in the sales process? Make a video about each one and then embed them all around the website. Because if prospects in the sales process have them, guess who else has them? Up in the funnel. Just website visitors that are thinking about buying a roof. So we're taking all these questions down here from the customers we know and are talking to, and we're pushing them up to the people that might not even know they have that question yet, and you're answering it for them. Guess who becomes a better customer? The one that actually has these objections already answered. The best salespeople I know, this speaks to that learning about sales so you're a better marketer. The best salespeople I know don't even have that many objections at the end of their sales process, because they've already closed all those doors in the sales process. They already answered all those objections. So by the time it gets to the end, they're presuming the sale. They're not even asking for the sale. They're just, of course we're going to do business together.
Yeah.
So when should we get it started? That type of vibe, because they've already answered these questions. Now, that is, to me, those 2 things with video, if you did those, you'd be much further ahead. Yes, there's all types of marketing video and, answering the bird's nest question or whatever. tons of other videos you could make. And yes, that's great. But first, start with the videos that are actually going to help you close more deals. And those are essentially it's 8 videos.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned embedding those in our website. What does that mean?
Yeah, you can just take the little, embed code from YouTube, and you can put them anywhere on your website, ideally right where they'd have the question. If you have a pricing calculator and you have a video that's about why we might be more expensive than some other cheaper competitors, because that's a great question, because you guys are all scared to talk about price in your marketing.
Right.
Let's put that video right next to the Roof Quote Pro. Let's take, you have a page for your, let's say you have a separate page for your Roof Quote Pro. You embed it there, and underneath it, you put the video, you put testimonials, and you put the video about why, we tend to be a little bit more expensive than our competitors. And you can embed them everywhere that they might have that question in the process. So they're learning about you, and you say, and maybe one of the questions you get a lot is like, why are you a better option than competitors, or whatever. And you could put that on your about page. So it's basically wherever they'd have that question in the content, that's where you embed the video.
You're right about the pricing. Nobody likes to talk about that, and I think that's a huge mistake. I get our clients to always, the number one question people are going to ask, how much does a roof cost? Okay. And if you address that, you don't have, people are, competitors are going to know my pricing. They already know your pricing. It's no secret. That's what people want to know. They want to know what this costs. And I think if you do a video on that explaining all of these things, here's our Roof Quote Pro, get them to move to that. And get that pricing down. Not only does it remove that sticker shock that everybody is going to have unless they've shopped a roof recently. So you get through that. And also the idea of, bringing in the people that you want. You don't want to have everybody come into your website. You want those that you've already pre-qualified. And I think that's a great way to do it with, here's what a roof costs. Come to a Roof Quote Pro. Here are the various things that we're talking about. What do you think?
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, exactly. Like, yes, it does maybe disqualify some people, but it also makes your average lead better. So it's always like, and we get more aggressive about these things as we get more prospects, right? Like, so we want our, the people that, like Monarch Roofing is a client of Hook Agency, and they are very aggressive with Roof Quote Pro. They have so many leads. It's kind of like overwhelming sometimes, and they actually just want them to be better leads. So in a way, they're squeezing them a little bit. They might squeeze out some junk, and they might even squeeze out a couple good ones. But then the leads that they do get are better. You know what I'm saying? So and that is a mature place to be, and you want to market so hard that you can do that, and you can scare off people that are tire kickers and want the cheapest possible thing.
Right. Because you go to your website, it's clear you're not the cheapest guy in town.
Yeah,
so, those people, really, you give them information. I know how much information you have on your website and so forth.
Yeah.
But you want to pre-qualify people. And the tire kickers, all of those, this is why contractors are so busy. I'm so busy. Well, busy doesn't mean you're spending your time with the right people. And that's what's so important is have fewer people that you're going out to see and spend more time with them rather than just, great, I went out and saw this guy. I'm going to shoot a quote out and, email him a quote, and that's the end of it. No, focus, pre-qualify your people. And you do that by asking questions in the, onboarding stage, the client discovery stage, all these things. So, so we've got, I've got so many questions here. I really want to ask you all these things. What about YouTube channel? Okay. Is it worth doing? I've got clients that have had YouTube channel. It's not getting anything, but optimizing these videos and really having a strategy of why you're doing this, how to optimize. I mean, the views and the local views that we've focused on have just skyrocketed. What do you think about YouTube channel for this average $1 to $5 million roofing contractor?
It's a bit early it depends if you're going to apply effort. Like if you as the owner are going to apply effort, then it's awesome. If you're going to try to pay everybody else to make this happen, that might be a little early to be hammering YouTube. I think it's a very expensive proposition. It takes a lot of work. In our case, we're just about to hit 30,000 subscribers. Shout out to my video guy, Jack, who's been cranking. He's back here. And it's been very good. We're starting to get 2, 3, 5 leads a week from YouTube. And it's because they're good customer, because they're getting a little further down the funnel because they start to like, know, and trust us, or at least not hate us. And so that's cool because essentially it just gets them to know you. And YouTube is powerful, very powerful. It's just it's like everything else, right? Like you got to go hard.
Yeah.
You got to go hard and you got to go consistent and you got to go long. So like, it's like, if you're going to take 2 or 3 years, I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm just getting to 30,000 YouTube subscribers. If you're a contractor, you have an advantage because it's, you have visible, interesting stuff. Go to a job site, point the camera at a tool, and like, it's good. Like people want that. People want real in the trenches stuff. But it's just going to be, you got to take consistency and you got to go long and you got to go hard and you'll do better. But yeah, I've helped contract because we used to be the video guys for several contractors, and I go back and look at their videos, and we haven't done it for a while for them, but some of them, 50,000, 100,000, 300,000 views on some of these things. And it's because we were in the trenches with them, pointing a camera at real work. And that's what I don't understand is when contractors have all this work to look at and to go to and to point at the camera at, and they're doing something in their office. Like you don't need to, we don't need another talking head guy with a podcast mic. Okay. You got real work to look at. Let's look at the real work.
Well, here's what I do, and it's funny, I'm coming up on, I just started this a little while ago, coming over on 1,000 subscribers. So, hey, by the way, go to Dave Sullivan Roofer Show, subscribe, like, and check out our stuff. But for instance, this podcast that we're doing here, we also do video. And this is going to be maybe 430 episodes that I've done. And I've got all these videos. But, I've been told I got a face for radio all these years. So I'm not going to put my video up there. And it was just scary to do that. But you just got to get started. So what I do is I will record this. I send that to my editor that I got off Upwork. And, for not a lot of money, he goes through and edits it, gives me a good thumbnail, and optimizes it, puts it out there. Then I got another guy that works on the optimization and gets me views and this and that. So you guys can check out this video that we're doing here. Either listen to it on the podcast on audio, or you can go watch it on the video. And it's gonna, how do you get all these views? I mean, it just takes a lot of time and consistency, I guess. But I mean, you're a master of this. And I think I want to learn.
The biggest thing is the topic. Starting out with a topic that's clickable, that's like super attractive. So on the front end of things, I think a lot about the topic and how we're going to phrase it. And I am looking for volume, search volume. And you can do that by putting in a guess for a topic. And like even without any tools or anything like that, like I use vidIQ and some other things. Ahrefs actually is an SEO tool that also has YouTube volume. Right. But just by searching the keyword or question or topic that you think is going to be interesting on YouTube and looking how the other videos on that topic have done views wise. So if you type in the topic, let's say private equity and roofing, and you look at the top 5 videos and they only have 100 views, maybe that's not a big enough topic for it to get a lot of views, or maybe it's got 3,000, and then you can say, hey, is it worth me trying to create a better video for this topic than what's already out there so that I can try to rank above them? And then that thumbnail is so ridiculously important. I think
you mean all your pictures that are like always have the finger pointing at something?
I'm just copying, we just copy Mr. Beast and Dimitri. You know what I mean? Like it's literally just like, it's like, or fear, an emotion though, right? We really do make an emotion. So Dave's editors, you can use this, right now, or so you can use all that. I mean, like really it does require thinking about that topic, making a better thing than other people, because and a big one is we put clips of the podcast right at the beginning so that it's more likely to capture their attention that first 30 seconds. Because once you get them, you're more likely to keep them. And then the thumbnail has to be kind of emotional or interesting in some way. You got to get the click, and then you got to keep the click. So those are the main things. And I think I watched a lot of Mr. Beast, and we're trying to do the same thing, which is like, and him talking about making YouTube videos, which is, we're grabbing attention, we're keeping attention, and he goes to insane lengths to do that, including like stunts, right? And I'm not able to do as many stunts as him based on my budget, but certainly like we're learning from guys like that and trying to apply the principles in a small way to what we're doing.
Love it. What's our hook, and what's going to be our thumbnail for today?
Yeah, it's I think it should be eight videos you need to make now for your roofing company or something like that. So
no, for this video that I'm going to post.
Oh, okay. That was my idea. I don't know. I can't think of it that quick, because literally if it was my video, I'd be thinking about that for like a half an hour. And I'd like, you could also take the transcript. You could take the whole transcript, copy it into ChatGPT, and be like, hey, what would be 5 really good hooks for this? And like it will analyze it and find stuff, you know. So then that's a way to do it too. And I use AI way too much anyway. So
well, this is going to be a great example. So when I get this posted, which will be a few weeks or so forth, but I'll put it out there, and that's exactly I thought it was my idea, but we're doing this on Zoom. Zoom will give you a fairly good summary of what we're discussing, some, show notes. And I take those, I put them into ChatGPT, the new one, 40, and big difference. And so I'm going in, and you're exactly right. Give me 5 titles and so on and so forth. So anyway, let's talk about maps, because before we wrap up, I know that you've got a program, and are maps important?
Super, super important. Whatever's big and visual on that Google results page, when you Google roofer near me, roofing contractor, etc., Google Maps is massive. The biggest, we do all this with rankmap.ai, but posting on Google Business Profile regularly, doing the initial Google Business Profile optimization, not embellishing it, not using AI images, and don't list categories or services you don't actually offer. Imagine that. List your real services, post images and photos, post them regularly. That's one thing we handle, is just like automatically posting images every day. Be really honest in your description. This initial Google Business Profile optimization will do it. If you haven't filled it out in a long time, go back, fill out every last thing. Use Google Business Profile posts like with real work that you've completed. Like show what you're actually up to, which is something that we handle as well. But getting more Google reviews, that's something you got to do no matter what. And
that's important, right? Google reviews,
massive.
You've got to have them. And if you've got 10 reviews, it's not going to do anything for you, right?
Oh, absolutely. You got to have at least 30 on every Google Business Profile. So some people are like, hey, should I do 5 Google Business Profile or Maps listings? I'm like, as long as you can get 30 reviews, there's nothing wrong with that. And now you have to have a physical location. If you want to get more reviews, you can use tools like Bird Eye, Chirp, Pulse M. Never pay for Google reviews. Always ask in person. You can get your guys to wear like a little lanyard with a QR code on it and make it super easy. Do contests internally and tell your guys to ask for them to mention them by name. The percentage actually goes up when they mention them by name. Right. When things are negative, don't be defensive. Just address the issue. Be gracious. Be authentic. And it's okay to professionally tell your customer they are wrong a little bit. But imagine that everyone else is going to read that review, because we all search by negative and then we read the negative review. And then we track these things with our tool rankmap.ai to show you how many places you're number 1 for Google reviews. And it is actually pretty cool to see those. And I think that showing how where you're number 1, 2, and 3 in green, and then where not 1, 2, 3 turns orange, yellow, or red. And then essentially as your green type starts to spread, is what gets exciting for people that do subscribe to rankmap.ai, and you can sign in and look at your map rankings yourself.
That's great. I got 100 more questions, but I promised I wouldn't just rattle on. Well, I have done that, so too late. But anyway, I'm going to let you scoot. Tell us, how do we get in touch with you? But also that program that you were talking about, the more inexpensive program, which I think is more of an entry for our listeners. Give us how we get that, and then give us some information on how we get in touch with you.
hookagency.com and hookagency.com/pricing for our clear services. We have starter SEO now, which we didn't used to have. It's less than half of our normal SEO. So if you've been scared to work with Hook Agency, but you'd like to get started, starter SEO is particularly for those companies in that first couple million that really just need to start ramping it up. And Rank Map is only $1,000 a month. So starter SEO is $2,000 a month right now. Rank Map is $1,000 a month, and LSA management is only $500. So there's a lot of cheaper options amongst our more expensive offerings, and we'll help you figure out which ones are right for you. And definitely excited to chat with any of you if it's appropriate. Hookagency.com and then rankmap.ai if you're particularly interested in our Google Maps SEO service.
Tim, it's always a pleasure getting you back. We got to get, it's been 2 years. Got to get you on a regular basis because things are changing so much, and you're always
it's going crazy.
So, hey, well, as always, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's always interesting, and I always learn a lot. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you later.